Good afternoon and a very warm welcome to this, the FEI World Cup Dressage here in Gothenburg, Sweden, leg 10 of the Western European League. The FEI World Cup is the most prestigious individual competition in the international dressage calendar, a truly global series that started in 1985 and that covers 4 leagues across the world, including the Pacific, North American, Central European and the Western European League. The best 9 athlete and horse combinations from the Western European League will qualify for the final, which is being held in Omaha in the United States of America in April. The riders have 11 chances of qualifying in 9 countries over 6 months. I'm Natasha Baker and I am so excited to be watching along with you today. We have a fabulous lineup of 10 horse and rider combinations coming forward for this Grand Prix. We have horses and riders from the World Championships in Herning last summer, as well as some big names in the dressage world, including past championship medalists. They will all be looking up to pick up some valuable points today. As I said, this is leg 10 of the Western European League. So with just this competition and one more to go until we find out who is going to be joining us in the finals. Next up is Bosch on the 10th and 11th of March, and then of course the finals in Omaha on the 4th to the 8th of April in the United States of America. Over the last few months, we've seen wins from Carina, Kruth and Helena Langehanenberg. That was in leg 1 in Wilhelmsburg. We'll see them coming forward today. Then we saw Jessica von Brenda-Vandel taking leg 2 in Lyon with her brand new music on TSF Delera BB. Leg 3 saw Ingrid Klimke take the top spot on Franziska's FRH. There was another win for Germany in Madrid with Frederick von Dres and Duke of Britain FRH taking the 20 points. Then it was the turn of world number 1 Lossie Fry and Glamourdale, who wowed us in Excel London. The final show of 2022 was Mechlin and Dinja van Leer, but here we can see the start list. This is the 10 competitors coming forward for today's Grand Prix. Marc Peter Spahn and Jerome Pole heading up the competition from Belgium. Then 5th to go just before the break, Helena Langehanenberg. Then we can see Carina Kruth there going in 7th. She was the winner of leg 1. Nanna Merrald and Blue Horse Zach 8th in. They were the winners. Well, Nanna was the winner last week in Neumünster with Blue Horse Zepter. And Isabell Werth also coming forward today. There we can see the warm-up with the riders preparing to come into that very, very impressive main arena. I think probably one of the most impressive arenas on the World Cup circuit. You can see Marc Peter Spahn here at the forefront of our screens. He is the first competitor to come forward. So great that we have these cameras here in the warm-up to see all of the action. The final show, as I said, was in Mechlin of last year, where Dinja van Leer and Hermes NOP danced their way to the top spot. And last month, Jessica von Brenda-Vandel and TSF Delera BB took their second World Cup win in Basel with another 90% plus score. Last time out in Amsterdam, we saw Dinja van Leer take her second World Cup win with Hermes NOP, and then just last week, as I said, we saw Nanna Merrald take her first win of the season with Blue Horse Zepter with a new personal best. So you can see the stands filling up now. The atmosphere is building. Plenty of people coming out to support this World Cup qualifier Grand Prix. Of course, we will be bringing you the freestyle tomorrow So make sure you join us back for that. All 10 competitors will be coming forward to that. So that is going to be a fantastic competition. But first of all, they must compete in this Grand Prix. This Grand Prix class sponsored by Agria. The judges are in their places. We did have a withdrawal. We meant to have Natalie Alfords and Mickey M first in the arena. So the first rider will be coming forward at 9 minutes past 1 British time, 9 minutes past 2 Central European time. There you can see our first rider just coming out of the warm-up and preparing to enter that fantastic arena. Brilliant facilities here in Gothenburg. And what an entrance to the arena that is. You can join along, don't forget, with our spectator judging by downloading the app on the Play Store or on the App Store. You can either judge along movement by movement or give an overall impression of the test. So make sure you download that app now and see how close you can get to our expert panel of judges. So first in the arena, it is Marc Peter Spahn and Jeroen Pol. This is an 12-year-old, Dutch Frisian. This is Marc and Jeroen's second appearance at a Western European League World Cup qualifier. They competed in Leg 1 in Wilhelmsborg. They also competed in the Central European League's Brno in the Czech Republic in June. Picked up their personal bests of 68.261 in the Grand Prix and 71.905 for fourth and fifth, respectively. Also competed his other ride, Alias 494 at XL in London in December, where they finished 13th in the Grand Prix and freestyle with 68.421 and 73.315. They started at Grand Prix in June 2021 and have seen their scores rise from 63% up to the prestigious 70% mark. Just a couple of days after his successful ride at London XL, he had a fall from his horse and needed surgery after fracturing his leg. Hasn't let it hold him back, though, from trying to qualify for the finals in April. So great to see him back in the arena today. So for Belgium, it is Marc Peter Spahn and Jeroen Pol. Just quickly go through the judges. At E, we have Magnus Ringmark from Sweden. At H, we have Peter Holler from Germany. At C, we have Suzanne Barlap from Denmark. At M, we have Lars Anderson from Sweden. And at B, we have Clive Halsall from Great Britain. Not the best start for Marc on that first centre line. He's going to have to pick up some points in the following movements. Some nice steps, though, in the extended trot. Just losing the quarters a little bit there in the half pass. Slightly better here to the left. Looks a little bit more supple there to the left than to the right. But a little bit of tension there coming back at H. Some pretty nice steps in the rein back. Just didn't really solidify that halt at C. Was just a bit fidgety and not quite square. Again, some lovely steps there in the extended trot. Just for me, I think if he wants to aim for those bigger marks, he could just extend the frame just a little bit more. The ground cover is super there, though, and really tracking up nicely in the extended trot. Shame about those little interruptions towards the end of the piaffe. Actually started really nicely. And then just lost the fluency as he started asking to come back into the passage. It was a little bit travelling, and it was almost like he came back a little bit too much, and then it just disrupted the whole picture of the piaffe. Again, the same as in the extended trot, I'd just like to see that frame extend out and down in the extended walk there, and that would just encourage a little bit more ground cover as well. Good activity here in the collected walk, keeping the walk rhythm nicely there. Good transition up into the passage as he comes into the piaffe. Again there, just starts really, really nicely, and then almost like he comes off of the rider's leg aids as he comes to think about the transition back into the passage. Nice here in the canter, really good rhythm in the canter as he comes into the line of twos. Nice and fluent there, really using the diagonal line. Keeping the rhythm and the regularity throughout the whole of that diagonal. Beautiful ground cover there in the extended canter. And again, I'd just like to see the neck out a little bit more there in the extended canter. You know, the judges really want to see not only the extension of the stride, but also the extension of the whole frame. And that's just something that isn't really happening in any of the extended work today in all three of the paces. A great angle there of the zigzag down the centre line. You could really see it from the judge's perspective, and you could see that he was unable to go as far in the half pass to the right as to the left. So again, scoring 5s and 6s there for those half passes. You want to see them really nice and symmetrical, and for the timing to be right. Some good corrections there, but made by Marc Peter in that pirouette. Just got a little bit tight over the back. You can just see there. Just lost the rhythm of the canter a little bit and just got a little bit tight, and you could just see Marc just making those corrections, asking for the throughness with that inside bend. Guys make such a lovely picture, and it's great to see these different breeds making it to the top level of our sport. It just goes to show that you don't need a posh warm blood to compete in dressage. With the right training, any horse can get to this level. Marc says that he loves the character of Frisian horses, that they do anything for you within their power, and they love contact with people, and you can really see that coming through in their harmony. And there we have it for Marc Peter Spahn and Jerome Pole. Great to see them back in the arena, especially Marc after his nasty fall back in December, fracturing his leg. So great that he's made a full recovery and is back out. He also hopes to compete in 's-Hertogenbosch next month, and fingers crossed for him can make it to the finals in Omaha. A really nice start to this Grand Prix today. As I said, lovely extensions here. You can really see the ground cover, this horse tracking up beautifully. As I said, I just want to see him extend that frame a little bit more in the walk, the trot and the canter extensions. And I think he could just pick up an extra mark for those. Just again there, lost a bit of the fluency in the piaffe. It's the transition coming from the piaffe into the passage. It was a really lovely transition from the passage into the piaffe, I should say, and started really, really well. So his score 67.5 from E, 68.804 from H, 63.478 from C, 65.652 from M, and 65.435 from B. A total score there of 66.174% for Marc Peter Spahn and Jeroen Pol. Next up, we have a rider for Sweden. It is Jacob Norby Sorensen, and he rides Sheeran. Sheeran is a 12-year-old Oldenburg by Sir Donaghall out of a Johnson mare. This combination's second World Cup qualifier. They started in Wilhelmsburg in leg 1. They finished 11th in the short Grand Prix with 69.368%, jumped to 10th in the freestyle with 75.780, just shy of their personal best. Last year they competed in the Neumünster World Cup qualifier in February, finishing 16th in the short Grand Prix. So in the arena now for Sweden, it is Jacob Norby Sorensen and Sheeran. They competed at the Rotterdam CDIO 5-Star Nations Cup last June. They finished 23rd in the Grand Prix with 67.457 and then jumped up to 10th place in the freestyle with 73.340. Also helped Sweden into 3rd place in the Nations Cup team competition. Fairly nice start. But just had a little bit more from behind there in the extended trot. It's a little bit fidgety as well in the first halt. Just needs to watch the rhythm there in the half pass. Nice positioning, good crossing. Just maintaining that fluency across the diagonal line. Nicely on the marker there at C. Just, you could see the horse a couple of strides before he asked for the halt. He just anticipated it a little bit. And then Jacob asked for him to go forward up to the marker, which is the right thing to do. But that just put the weight onto the forehand. And then as he asked for the rein back, the horse was unable to transfer that weight to the hind leg. So dragged his front feet as he went backwards. That weight was just all on the shoulder, unfortunately. Some good steps there in the piaffe. Keeping the activity nicely there. Lovely lift in the piaffe passage. Again, could just allow the horse to take a bit more of a stretch here in the extended walk. Just about tracking up there in the extended walk. Like to see a little bit more ground cover for the big marks. And the extended walk and the collective walk, both double coefficients, so it can be very expensive. Good regularity there in the collective walk. And that can be one of the hardest movements, in fact, of this Grand Prix test. Getting that collective walk before the transition into the passage at M. A lot of horses, and we saw it a lot in Neumünster last week, getting very, very tense in the collective walk, anticipating this movement from the passage to the Piaffe. But that was performed very, very nicely by Jacob and Sheeran, consistently picking up 7.5s from the judges. A little bit late there into the canter. Canter transition meant to be at E. Just backed off of his aids a bit there, and that's cost him quite a lot of marks. Good suspension here in the 2-time changes. Plenty of ground cover there, and again, really making the most of that full diagonal line, really travelling forwards beautifully over that whole diagonal. This horse has such great ground cover in this canter work. A little bit early, I would say, in that flying change. Now coming into the zigzag. They're just rebalancing before they ask for the flying change. You can just see there, I'm losing a little bit of straightness on the flying changes to the left. Oh, mistake there in the ones. Really nicely recovered, but that start has cost them dearly. Yeah, so a fairly nice counter pirouette there, but you could just see that first step as he half-halted him much better this way. The first step in the canter pirouette to the left, he just went onto the shoulder, and therefore the canter pirouette ended up being a little bit flat. The balance was a little bit more on the shoulder, just as he did actually in that transition into halt at C near the beginning of the test. This is where he can really pick up the marks. This horse really strong in its Piaffe and Passage work. Beautifully accurate on the centre line. Nice and straight there. Good activity in the Piaffe at X. Some really nice steps there. Horse has such great lift in the Passage. And there we have it for Jacob Norby, Sorensen and Sheeran for Sweden. Our first horse and rider combination coming forward for Sweden. Unfortunately, a few expensive mistakes in their test today. Those 2-time changes proved very, very expensive. The transition into canter was just a little bit off the rider's aids. But some really super work. You can just see there in the half pass to the right a few inconsistencies in the rhythm, but then really got it back in the half pass to the left. This was definitely the highlight throughout the whole test though, all of the Piaffe Passage work. There you could see him asking for the canter and it just not quite coming off at the marker there. Some really super work though. Those 2-time changes were beautiful, and again there we can see the mistake in the 1-time changes. He asked for the second change and didn't quite come off Here's the score, 67.609 at E, 70.978 from H, 69.13 from C, 68.804 from M, and 69.783 from B. A total score of 69.261, and in the lead at the moment. Next into the arena, we have another competitor for Sweden. It is Jenny Larson. She's 40 years old, riding bona fide, a 17-year-old KWPN gelding by Universal out of a Kennedy mare. This is this combination's fourth ever international together, having only started together in May last year. They competed in the Central European League's Tallinn in September in Estonia, where they were second in the Grand Prix with their personal best of 69.022%. They then went on to win the freestyle with 75.175. That was another personal best for this combination. Since then, they competed at the CDI 3-star in Helsinki. They were second in both the Grand Prix and the freestyle, 68.565 in the Grand Prix and 74.7 in the freestyle. There we can see our president of the grand jury today, Suzanne Barlop from Denmark, standing up as she's rung the bell. So just waiting now for Jenny Larson to enter the arena. So coming down the centre line now for Sweden, it is Jenny Larson and Bonafide. Good start, really nice still halt at X there. Some pretty nice steps in the extended trot, tracking up nicely, good ground cover. Could just have a little bit more bend through the body there in the half pass to the right. And again here to the left, I'd just like to see the horse be a little bit more supple through the body there in that half pass. Not quite square there at C, but nice and accurate on the marker. Good activity here in the passage. Really nice lift. Just needs to watch the balance here coming into the piaffe. Yeah, some pretty nice steps. Just losing a little bit of that uphill tendency. The horse just looking as if the balance is going a little bit more through the shoulder than sitting on that hind leg. Lovely and relaxed here in the walk. Good ground cover. You can see a really clear over track. And a lovely stretch there. Jenny really allowing the horse to stretch down and out in that extended walk. Again, a really clear difference between the extended walk and the collected walk there. Well-maintained rhythm as well. Oh, that's a shame. Not sure if something caught the horse's eye, just a little bit of resistance there. Just going to get an error of course from making a circle. And of course, low marks there in the passage as well. Let's hope she can get it back for the piaffe. Yes, better transition there back into the passage. Not sure what that was that caught the horse's eye. Very well managed there by Jenny. That's a shame, as that's pulled her score right down now. Hopefully she can make up some more points in the Canter Tour. It's a really difficult transition as a rider and difficult decision to make, because she circled, so therefore she sacrificed 2% points by making an error of course. But actually, if she'd have carried on, she potentially could have sacrificed the next movement. But by doing that circle, it enabled her to have that time to just bring the horse back to her and hopefully get a better piaffe mark. So, you know, they're really tough decisions that riders have to make in that split second, and you have to do what you feel is right for your horse. And you know, it's only by sitting up there that you really know what is the right thing to do. Coming into the ones there. Again, I'd just like to see the shoulder come up a little bit more, have a little bit of a better balance on the hind leg to bring that front end up, to keep that pole up. Horse is very talented and obviously incredibly capable of performing all of these movements. I just think she could eke out a few more points if she could just get this horse a little bit more uphill. Nice there in the canter pirouette. Very consistent left to right there in both pirouettes. Great activity here coming down this final centre line. Again, just needs to watch that self-carriage. Yeah, well recovered by Jenny. You could just see the horse losing that activity as the piaffe went on. Jenny just doing a really good job of reminding him, no, stay up, stay underneath me. Good job there from Jenny Larson and Bonafide. Really, really lovely, talented horse. Just such a shame about that little spook as she came out of the walk work. As I said, she will lose 2 percentage points for making a circle. So that was very, very expensive. We could even see a 1, a few 2s and a couple of 3s from the judges. Managed to recover well, though, to pick it up and come back in for the piaffe and the passage. There we could just see the disruption. And that was when she decided to make a circle. If she'd have carried on and gone across the arena and asked for the piaffe, she wouldn't have done an error, of course. But as I said earlier, it's a really difficult decision to make as a rider. You know, it would have come up very, very quickly to have had to have made that piaffe transition. Here's the score, 65.065 at E, 65.935 at H, 62.022 at C, 64.087 from M, and 64.848 at B. A total score and into third place there, 64.391 for Jenny Larson and Bonafide. Now we move on to the sole representative of Norway. It is Trude Hestengen. She's 40 years old. She's riding Kristiansand Festino. 10-year-old Danish warm blood by Furstenborg. They competed at the World Championships in Herning last year. They finished 87th with 61.770% in the Grand Prix. This is their first time in the whiteboard since then. They made their Grand Prix debut in March last year and had good results in Falsterbro CDI 3-star in July, finishing 7th in the Grand Prix with 67.935 and 11th in the freestyle with their PB of 70.445. So in the arena now, it is Trude Hestengen for Norway riding Kristiansand Festino. Trude came up through the youth classes and then qualified for the Senior World Equestrian Games in Caen in 2014. Finished 56th there and then made it to the European Championships in 2015, finishing 24th individually. So a PB of 68.297 in the Grand Prix. Good crossing here in the half pass. Nice halt. Oh, just step back in that halt. It was really, really lovely up until then, but some good steps in the rein back. Again, nice ground cover there in the extended trot. Yeah, some nice steps in the PF. Has a really good ability to sit and take that weight through the hind leg there. Good relaxation coming into the walk. Could just extend that frame down and out a little bit more. Some really good ground cover though. Just like to see a little bit more difference between the extended walk and the collected walk in the frame. Ooh. Little spook there. That's the second spook actually that we've seen down that long side. Recovered very well. Quite a bit of travelling there in that PF. First one was definitely more on the spot, but managed to keep the activity nicely. Well maintained by Trude. As they come into the two-time changes. Again, really lovely forward changes there, using the whole of that diagonal line. Plenty of reach and ground cover in those. It's a really tall, leggy horse, and he's really using that in this canter work especially. Yeah, just needs to watch the straightness here in these canter half passes. At times you can just see the horse going a little bit quarters leading. Nicely ridden in the ones. Well prepared into the canter pirouette again. Just got a little bit long, just lost a little bit of that connection, which just seems to be the case throughout this test. I'd just like to see a little bit of a better connection from the hind leg into the bridle, just at times. And again, you could see there in that canter pirouette, it just gets a little bit long, loses the balance slightly. And again, there in that transition, just bears down onto the shoulder. Trude does a really good job of managing it very, very well, but just a few times just loses out on a few marks here and there. Nice here into the passage. Just again, yeah, you could see that was going to happen. The horse again just putting the balance onto the shoulder rather than onto the hind leg, getting a little bit long, losing that connection, and therefore was unable to get that smooth transition into the piaffe. And there we have it for Trude Hestengen and Kristiansand Faustino for Norway. Well ridden there by Trude, really using her experience from coming up through those youth classes. Already a rider that's competed at 2 World Championships and a European Championships as well. Some really, really nice work through this test. Just at times, as I said, just lost a little bit of the connection and the balance, and yeah, a little blip there in the transition into the passage, and there it was down the centre line, just lost the balance, went onto the shoulder, and then the horse just not quite on her aids as she asked for that piaffe transition, and that cost her quite dearly. 4s from some of the judges for that movement and some 5s there. But this horse has plenty of talent, some really lovely 2-time changes. That was definitely a highlight for sure. And some really good steps in the piaffe, picking up some good marks. Lots of 7.5. So we just wait for the score. 66.196 from E, 67.1717 from H, 66.522 from C, 65.87 from M, and 66.196 from B. A total score of 66.5%, and into second place for Trude Hestengen. So already now into the arena, we have the first representative of Germany. It is, of course, Helena Langehanenberg and Annabelle. It's a 15-year-old Holstein mare. Helen is a regular face on the World Cup circuit. Competed Annabelle at the last World Cup, finishing 6th in the final in the Grand Prix and in the freestyle with 75.019 and 78.839 respectively. This is their 5th World Cup qualifier this season. Into the arena now for Germany, Helena Langehanenberg and Annabelle. They competed in Wilhelmsburg, finishing 6th in the freestyle with 79.355. 2nd in Madrid with 80.035. 4th in Excel London with 82.135. And 9th in Amsterdam with 80.230. So definitely a contender for a top spot here in Gothenburg. And a very strong start from this duo. This mare is so beautifully built uphill. Nice positioning here in the trot half pass. I'd like to see a little bit more submission to the bend. You can see her just fiddling a little bit in the bit there. Still some really lovely steps. Enormous reach sideways in the half passes. Beautifully accurate at sea. Not 100% square. And good steps in the rein back. We're coming into the first piaffe now. Again, this mare really showing her ability to sit and take that weight through the hind leg. And that's what the judges want to see. They want to see the pole maintain at the highest point through all of the transitions. And this mare has such lovely balance. Good stretch there in the extended walk. For the higher marks, you'd like to see a little bit more ground cover. You can see her slightly anticipating there the passage transition, and Helen really using all of her experience to keep Annabelle with her there. A combination best score of 74.457 for this pair. They are sitting there and thereabouts. That would see them well and truly go into the lead. A little bit early there into the canter at E. Lost some valuable marks. Just being accurate, you can pick up so many marks from that, and a real range between 7.5 and 4 for that transition. You've travelled a little bit more forward across the diagonal there in the twos. Lovely ground cover there in the extended canter. And you can see Helen there really bringing her back before she asks for that flying change. And that's what we've seen the other riders not quite achieve today. They've done the flying change as they come back from the extended canter, rather than really bringing them back, making them sit and then getting a good flying change. Well managed there from Helen down the centre line. Oh. Yeah, you could see those changes getting shorter and shorter as the diagonal went on, and then the mistake just crept in towards the end. Just having to be careful of the canter rhythm there in the canter pirouette. Well managed there by Helen. Very, very centered canter pirouettes. Mare looking full of energy today, and Helen doing a good job of controlling that energy and pointing her in the right direction. Again, nice activity here in the passage. Really needs a good final centre line to pick up some of the marks that she's lost so far through the test. Much better piaffe there at X. Starting to see some 8s come through. Beautifully straight on the centre line. And there we have it for Helena Langehanenberg and Isabell 110 for Germany. Certainly not their best Grand Prix so far in this World Cup season. Just a few mistakes creeping through today. Started really, really well in the first couple of movements and actually finished beautifully there in that final piaffe and passage. But mistakes in that line of one-time changes. You can see Helen looking a little bit pink there. She had to work really hard today. You can see Isabell was looking quite hot to trot. Beautiful in the extended canter, picking up some good marks there. And again, just missed the transition up into canter E. That's the second horse that we've seen do that today. And there was that mistake in the one-time changes. Isabell just getting shorter and shorter as those ones went on. It was bound to creep up on her and a mistake creep in. But we just wait for those scores to be confirmed as we bring them to you. 73.37 from E, 72.174 from H, 73.043 from C, 72.826 from M, and 70.978 from B. A total score there of 72.478% for Helena Langehanenberg and Isabell 110. So we just take a short arena break now for 20 minutes. Give our judges a little break. We have 5 more competitors to come forward in the second half, so make sure you join us back for that. We will be back at 14 minutes past 2 British time, 14 minutes past 3 Central European time. You can see the likes of Carina, Cassoe, Kruth, Nanna Merrald and Isabell Werth come forward in that second half, just while our arena maintenance team come forward. But this are the standings so far. 72.478 is the score to beat, and that is of Helena Langehanenberg and Isabell 110, who we just saw second, Jacob Norby, Sorensen and Sheeran. For Sweden, 69.261, and in third at the moment is Trude Hestengen and Christianlund Faustino for Norway, 66.5. So make sure you join us back in just a few moments' time for the second half of this Grand Prix, leg 10 of 11 here in Gothenburg, Sweden. Welcome back to part 2 of this leg 10 of the Western European League here for the FEI World Cup Dressage in Gothenburg, Sweden. We have seen 5 competitors come forward already this afternoon with just 5 left to go. 10 competitors are coming forward from 5 nations for this Grand Prix. Just to run through those judges again with you. At E, we have Magnus Ringmark from Sweden. At H, we have Peter Holler from Germany. At C, our president of the grand jury is Susanne Barup from Denmark. At M, we have Lars Andersson from Sweden. And finally, at B, we have Clive Housel from Great Britain. We have some top names coming forward, especially actually in this second half of the Grand Prix. We have previous World Cup Championship winners. We have 2 competitors that have already won a leg each of this Western European League. Both from Denmark. Carina Kruth and Helena Langehanenberg won leg 1 in Wilhelmsborg in Denmark back in October last year. And then Nanna Merrald, she rode Blue Horse Zepter just a few days ago, in fact, for a win in Neumünster. But here she's riding Blue Horse Zach. And then we have Isabell Werth and DSP Quantaz, her World Championship ride from Herning last year. as well as 2 riders from the home nation of Sweden. So it's all to play for today in this Grand Prix. So excited to see how this is going to turn out. But what an arena here in Gothenburg. Probably one of the biggest, most impressive arenas. No wonder why it's held so many World Cup finals. And already you can see the next competitor coming into the arena. So as I said, leg 10 of 11 here in Gothenburg, Sweden. Just one more to go. That will be in March in 's in the Netherlands. These are the scores to beat, though. Helena Langehanenberg out in the lead with Isabell 110 for Germany. 72.478. We saw her go just before the break. Jacob Nörby, Sorensen and Sheeran in second place for Sweden. 69%. And here is the start list for part 2. Joanna Due Boje and Maisie Klovenhol for Sweden first to go. Then we see Carina, Nanna, Isabell, and then last to go is Jeanna Hogberg and Astoria. But now into the arena. It is our first rider after the break. It is Joanna Due Boje, 34 years old, riding Maisie Klovenhol. 15-year-old Swedish warm blood mare by Bocelli. This combination last competed in leg 1 in Wilhelmsborg. They finished 14th in the Grand Prix with 68.210 and 73.1415 in the freestyle. In June last year, Joanna and Maisie had a double win in Flinch, CDI 3-star, 71.043, their personal best in the Grand Prix, and 76.185 in the freestyle. So for Sweden, it is Joanna Due Boje and Maisie Klovenhol. Don't forget you can join along and judge our competitors using the Spectator Judging app. You can download it from the Play Store on your Android device or the App Store on your Apple. Mare has a very active hind leg. Just like to see her step a little bit more under behind to track up. You could just see a few moments where the rhythm got affected there in the extended trot. Want to keep that regularity throughout all of the trot work. Better regularity here in the half pass. Just leaving the quarters a little bit there at the beginning of that half pass left. Just see a little bit more suppleness through the horse's body, a bit more bend through the rib cage in those half passes. Pretty nice halt there. And good steps in the rein back. Her personal best score is 71.043 in the Grand Prix. Better this time in the extended trot. Again, just like to see the mare come a little bit more under behind to really over track in the extended trot for those big marks. Pretty nice there in the Piaf, and again nice smooth transitions. Lovely relaxation here in the walk. I think she could just stretch a little bit more in the extended walk. I think that would just give her a little bit more ground cover and therefore get slightly higher marks. Still sitting around the 7s, a 6.5 as well from one of the judges. she could have been braver a little bit there in the walk, in the extended walk in particular. Lovely activity there in the passage. Really, really nice. Lovely and uphill, keeping that pole up at the highest point. Again, it's just about maintaining that rhythm in the trot work through the piaffe and passage. Just lost it a little bit in the piaffe, but much better than the first one. Still in personal best territory, just dropped down a little bit. Let's see what she can do in this canter work. Yeah, fairly nice in the canter. It's kind of looks like she's got the handbrake on a little bit. I know the... Oh. Yeah, just a little bit of a blip there at the beginning. Not sure if that's the mare getting a little bit hot actually, but I just feel like she could push her forward a little bit more in this canter. Just looks a little bit too reserved. And again, the same there in the canter half passes, as I said in the trot. Oh, just a little bit slow into that last flying change. Just like to see a little bit more bend through the rib cage in those half passes. Yeah, not too bad there in the ones. Again, I'd just like to see her be able to take more of a ground covering step in all of the canter work. In fact, I just feel like, as I said, I think she's got the handbrake on a little bit in this canter work. Nice balance there in the canter pirouette. Yeah, really good. You could really see her sit and take that weight through the inside hind leg and come up into a nice uphill canter, keeping that regularity throughout the whole canter pirouette. Really nice on both reins there. Scoring well from the judges. Just fell a little bit into that trot transition. She comes down her final centre line now. Lovely in the hind leg there in the passage. Super activity. Just needs to keep that regularity through the whole centre line. Yeah, better there in the piaffe. A nice transition back into the passage. Very, very smart. A lovely job. Well done by Joanna Due Boje and Maisie Hovenho for Sweden. Their personal best is 71.043. Trending around the 69-70% mark. That extended canter really did pull them down quite a bit, but they managed to pick up some really good marks, especially in that final section of trot work. There we could see Mo just getting a little bit hot as she asked for the extended canter. For me, as I said through the test, it just felt like in the canter work she had the handbrake on a little bit. It was a little bit too back. Would like to see a bit more ground cover, a little bit more activity to see the mare travelling a little bit more in the canter. Those canter pirouettes, though, were absolutely spot on. Beautiful balance through the canter pirouette there. A really, really super talented mare. Not sure if they're going to be in personal best territory, but they are going to be looking at breaking the 70% barrier, that's for sure. And they do into second, 70.587, so that's 71.196 from E, 71.413 from H, 71.087 from C, 70.109 from M, and 69.13 from the judge at B. So now into the arena, we have our first rider from Denmark. It is Carina Kruth. She's 39 years old, riding Helena Langehanenberg, 12-year-old Danish warm blood mare by Furstenball. Our winner from leg 1 in Wilhelmsborg. She's back and hoping to pick up some more points here in Gothenburg. She was, of course, a member of the World Championship gold medal winning team from Herning last year, and, of course, Tokyo 2020. Carina and Dance are on an upward spiral, regularly scoring in the mid-80s for their freestyle. At the World Championships, they picked up 12th place in the special and in the freestyle event after coming 7th in the Grand Prix to help clinch that team gold. They finished 5th in the short Grand Prix with 75.094 at the World Cup finals in April last year in Leipzig. Carina Kruth now for Denmark, riding Helena Langehanenberg. Since Wilhelmsborg, they competed at the CDI 5-star in Stockholm. Just missed out on a podium finish, coming 4th in the Grand Prix and the freestyle with 78.087 and 82.825. Beautiful there in the extended trot. This lovely mare is so light, so supple. You can see the lift there that she has in those half passes. And really comes through and can really glide across the arena. Could have been a little bit more supple there in the half pass to the left. Oh, beautiful square halt. The first one we've seen today. This mare always so active. So forward and really, really wanting to please. We have a first 10. Judge at E gave a 10 for that extended trot. And some top marks for the passage. Just lost a little bit of the activity there in the Piaffe compared to that of the passage. And then straight into a beautiful relaxed walk. Huge ground cover here in the walk, and that's something that Furstenball does tend to pass down to all of his offspring. Lovely relaxation. Can really see the mare swinging over the back there in the walk. And then maintaining that lovely rhythm in the collective walk. Just have a little bit more freedom of the shoulder there in the collective walk. And again, picking up beautifully into the passage. We are in personal best territory. 77.63 is their current personal best. Currently sitting on 78. So now into the twos. Nicely on the aids. Really beautifully forward across the diagonal. Very nicely ridden. This mare just always looks like so much fun to ride. She looks like she really wants to please her rider and really try her best at all times, and that's just such a lovely trait. I mean, I'm a big mare fan myself, and I think if you find a good mare, they'll do absolutely anything for you, and I think this mare is real evidence of that. And we've seen and followed her journey over the years, and just to see the improvement and the harmony build between these two, it's just been such a fantastic partnership to watch. Lovely and fluent through the one-time changes. So now she comes into the canter pirouettes down the centre line. And see Carina really preparing her for them, getting the balance on that hind leg. That inside hind leg has to carry the weight, and she did that very, very well. Beautifully centred. 6 to 8 steps around the canter pirouette. Think about riding a very, very small circle. Dustbin lid size, I've heard dinner plate size, whatever works for you. She's very, very close to her personal best. What can she do down this final centre line now? Another 9 for the extended trot. She's got some top competitors coming in after her. Fabulous from the hind leg there in the passage. Beautiful regularity here in the trot work. You can see in that lovely picture from behind the swing that she has over the back. Another couple of 9s for the passage. That's interesting, that PF at X, 7.5 from both the judges at E and B, and 6 and 6.5 from the judges at H, C and M. So I wonder if from their angle that maybe there was a little bit of swinging. But what a great, great job. She's a happy bunny. Look at that big smile there from Carina Cassoe and the beautiful mare, Helena Langehanenberg. A gorgeous test from this pair. The support team are very happy as well. Big celebrations for them. They were our winners from Wilhelmsburg. Can they do it again here in Gothenburg as we watch the highlights back? Absolutely beautiful. Our first halt there at sea that was actually square. Beautifully ridden throughout the whole test. Carina just rode so well, prepared for each movement to really get the most out of this mare. Really lovely zigzag, nice and accurate, so well balanced through the whole test. It's a thumbs up from the team and a punch in the air from Carina as we bring you the scores in just a few moments' time. Is she going to manage a personal best today? It is 80.543 from E, 76.630 from H, 76.522 from C, 78.587 from M, and 78.804 from B. A new personal best of 78.217% for Carina Kruth from Denmark, riding Helena Langehanenberg. And we stay with Denmark now because it is the turn of Nanna Merrald. She is 30 years old and rides Blue Horse Zach, a 19-year-old KWPN stallion. Nanna is here hot off of the back of her first World Cup win in Neumünster just last weekend, where she rode Blue Horse Zepter in their second ever international test to a PB of 86.060. Now she's back on Blue Horse Zach. This pair are an extremely established combination. They competed together at the Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games and last year's World Championships, where they helped Denmark win that team gold. That was actually their last championship together. They were 8th in the Grand Prix, 76.724. This is Nanna's 7th World Cup qualifier, having competed Blue Horse St. Chauffeur in Wilhelmsburg and Mechlin, Atrop Gods Othilia and Lyon, Blue Horse Zepter in Basel and Neumünster, and Blue Horse Zach in Amsterdam, and now, of course, here in Gothenburg. It is Nanna Merrald and Blue Horse Zach for Denmark. She's currently 3rd in the leaderboard for the World Cup standings for the Western European League with 69 points. And I'm sure this stallion just gets better and better. You would never know he was 19 years young, stunning across that extended trot across the diagonal. He has such an exceptional ability to really extend and collect, and is still so incredibly supple for his age. Beautiful there in the half passes across the arena. A little bit early into the halt, not quite square there either at sea. I think one thing to really point out from this horse is just how wonderful his balance is. He is always uphill. The pole is always at the highest point, and you can see the horse there really able to extend his whole frame in the extended trot and then come back into that really high collection in the passage there. Definitely helps with him being nice and short coupled. Nice and relaxed here in the extended walk. Good ground cover. Could definitely stretch down a little bit more there in the extended walk. Combination best score of 76.724 for this pair. Lovely spring and activity in the passage. Good transition into the piaffe. Just needs to maintain that same level of activity in the piaffe. Still scoring well, around 7.5. One judge rewarding 6.5 from the piaffe. Huge flying changes. really able to gobble up that ground in those changes. A 9 from the judge at C, 8.5, 2 8s and a 7.5 for those. Again, lovely and balanced here in the canter zigzag. Quarters were leading slightly in those changes to the left. Big discrepancy in the judges' marks for the zigzag. A 9, an 8.5, a 7.5, an 8 and a 6. Beautiful ones. I think this is one of this horse's highlights. The lovely canter pirouettes. Nanna's setting him up there, putting that balance on the hind leg, and he just carries her around. Actually got a little bit too much and was almost over sitting there. She needs to keep the activity. Better there. Much better in the canter pirouette to the right. That was definitely a bit of commentator's curse from me. Beautiful picture there in the extended trot. Such a lovely, harmonious partnership from these two. It's been great to see Nanna's journey through this World Cup season. And of course, coming out last week on Blue Horse Zepter, taking the win. And Blue Horse Zepter, of course, a son of Blue Horse Zach. This is such a fantastic breeding stallion as well. Produced so many fantastic Grand Prix horses. There we have it from Nanna Merrald and Blue Horse Zach for Denmark. Another fabulous, fabulous job from this combination. But has she done enough to overtake her teammate who is currently out in the lead? Carina Kruth and Helena Langehanenberg out on top with 78.217. As we watch back on Nanna's highlights from this test, beautiful flying changes. Look how much lift this horse has. Absolutely beautiful. It must feel amazing being up there, and this horse just so beautifully uphill in all of his work. Just got a little bit, yeah, there. It was halfway through that canter pirouette that he just got a little bit carried away. Some lovely canter half passes down the centre line as well. Those one-time changes, pretty spectacular. Some real highlights from this combination. But where is it going to put them? So we just wait for the scores to come through. It is 79.022 from E, 75.109 from H, 76.848 from C, 77.5 from M, and 74.891 from B. That's a total score of 76.6474. And into second for Nanna Merrald and Blue Horse Zach. Now we move on to our second representative of Germany. It is Isabell Werth. She's 54 years old, riding DSP Quantaz, a 13-year-old stallion by quarterback. She needs no introduction. She's won a whopping 35 gold medals from 5 Olympics, 7 World Championships and 15 European Championships. won 5 World Cup finals in total, and if she qualifies again this year, it would be her 20th World Cup final. She's currently sitting on the top of the Western European League standings. This combination competed at last year's World Championships, finished 5th in the Grand Prix with 77.127, 4th in the Special with 79.073, and 9th in the Freestyle with 83.339. So down the centre line now for Germany, it is Isabell Werth and DSP Quantas. She means business. They also competed in Stuttgart for the World Cup qualifier there. They won the Grand Prix with 77.217 and finished 2nd in the freestyle with 82.030. They then went on to Basel, where they finished 2nd behind Jessica von Brander-Vandel with 78.261 in the Grand Prix and 85.650 in the freestyle. She's also competed Emilio in Amsterdam and Lyon, finishing 2nd in both with 87.945 and 86.595. So no wonder she's at the top of the standings. A good start so far. A little bit early to the halt at sea. The horse just fidgeting there as well. Pulling her score down, 6s and 5s from the judges. You want to see a nice square still halt at the marker. Lots of ground cover in the extended trot. Lovely transition into the Piaffe. Oh, getting a little bit hot there towards the end. Could just see the tempo speed up at the end of that Piaffe. Isabell doing a great job of just containing it. Pretty nice there in the extended walk. I think for the higher marks, the judges would just want to see more relaxation over the back. You can just see him there holding himself in the back, just getting a little bit tight in this collected walk. And there you can see the score dropping because of that. Both the extended walk and the collected walk, double coefficients. So very, very expensive. This is where she can pick up the marks. Better there in the Piaffe. Up into the canter. What I really liked about how Isabell rode that Piaffe, she really schooled him through it, and you could see that she was anticipating that quickness that she got from the first Piaffe, and she really rode that in the second one. And that's the thing about these tests and these top riders. You know, it's great riding the tests at home, and you know, you get so much from test practice at home. But actually, the horses know when they're in a competition. They know when they're platted up. They know when it matters. And so, therefore, they can cheat a little bit or throw in a cheeky something in the test like he did in that first Piaffe. And it's really important that these riders can come into these tests and make those corrections as they go, so that hopefully next time when they come out and ride it, the horse is like, oh, okay, I've got to listen to mum and do it properly now. into the ones. Ooh, that's a shame. That's going to be very expensive. Well recovered there from Isabell. You can see her there taking the half halt with the outside rein, preparing, balancing, ready for the canter pirouette. Just lost a little bit of the activity in the last couple of steps there in the canter pirouette. Just want to see that same activity maintained throughout the whole canter pirouette. And again, they're going into that canter pirouette. Just didn't have the throughness quite around that inside leg. Pretty good there in the extended trot. 3 8s, a 9 and a 7.5. As they come down the final centre line. Some lovely passage. Good transition into the piaffe. Much better. It's lovely to see that actually as the test has gone on, each piaffe has got better, and that's a really good indicator to Isabell coming forward for the Grand Prix Freestyle tomorrow. Well done, Isabell Werth and DSP Quantas for Germany. Not a foot perfect test from this pair, but that's going to have given them a lot of confidence coming into the Grand Prix Freestyle tomorrow. It improved so much as the test went on. And she's going to know exactly what to do to pick up those points tomorrow in the freestyle. She is a real crowd favourite. They're loving her here in Gothenburg. That was the second piaffe there. Lovely activity. Madeleine Winterfries, a long-standing owner of Isabell, a great friend of hers and a fabulous supporter. Madeleine really follows Isabell around the world. That was the mistake there in the one-time changes that really cost her a lot of marks. Definitely not going to be a personal best from Isabell today, but let's just see where that puts her. I would imagine it's enough to put her into the top three. It is. It's 76.413 from E, 76.522 from H, 75.217 from C, 75.435 from M, and 75.978 from B. A total score of 75.913. And into third place there for Isabell Werth and DSP Quantas. Now we move on to our final combination of the day. It is Jeanna Hogberg, 41 years old. She's riding Astoria, an 11-year-old Swedish warm-blood mare by Sir Donahall, the second OLD. Another combination from last year's World Championships. They finished 57th in the Grand Prix with 68.664. They then went on to compete in the Central European League, Tallinn in Estonia, where they won the Grand Prix with 69.174% and finished second in the freestyle with 74.920. It was last time out, though, that they took the double win in Helsinki CDI 3-star with 70.717 in the Grand Prix and 75.355 in the freestyle. So, coming down the centre line now, our final competitor for Sweden, Jeanna Hogberg and Astoria. Lovely lift in the trot work. Again, another very elegant mare. Nice there, really tracking up beautifully, opening that frame up nicely, keeping the pole up at the highest point. Good steps in this half pass. Like to see a little bit more submission to the bend there in the half pass to the left. Just dropping the pole. Having a bit of a sneeze in the halt. Yeah, over tracking really nicely in the extended trot. Good activity there in the passage. Just needs to maintain that into the piaffe. Lost a bit of the fluency in the transitions there. Good ground cover here in the walk. Just see her not really letting go there. Just a little bit fiddly in the mouth in the extended walk. Just holding back those big marks. And again, you can see it there in the collected walk. Just a little bit of tension creeping in. Yeah, again, just needs to get that piaffe a little bit more consistent. There's some really nice steps in there. It just needs to be a little bit more fluent. This mare just 11 years old this time, so still relatively young and fresh into their work at Grand Prix. So that will improve as she gets stronger. Nice and uphill there in the 2-time changes. Again, we'd just like to see her a little bit softer over the back. Super ground cover there in the extended canter. This mare has such lovely power. A really great engine. It's just managing that at times. You can just see sometimes it just gets away from Jeanna a little bit. Jeanna's doing a really good job of trying to channel that energy and that power into lovely forward movements, and yeah, mistakes just creeping in there in the 1-time changes. I love this mare's enthusiasm. She's really, really trying for her rider. And I think sometimes, you know, like I said earlier, you can get some really, really fantastic mares. I'm a big mare fan myself, and I know my mare is exactly like this horse, plenty of power, and sometimes they can just overhelp a little bit, and that really came across in those canter pirouettes. She really sat and came up beautifully, but sometimes just lost the balance there. And it's just about controlling that enthusiasm. Nice here down the center line. Again, yeah, just losing the connection at times in the piaffe. Some really nice steps there, and I think that is going to be a really super piaffe as this horse just gets stronger and can hold herself a little bit more. But there we have it from Jeanna Hogberg and Astoria. A really lovely mare. Plenty more to come from this pair, I feel, in the future. Really super job. You can see Carina Cassoe there checking the scores. Is she still in the lead? Does she need to quickly get ready for prize giving? As Jeanna was our final combination into the arena for this Grand Prix. And here you can just see how much lift this lovely mare has. And there you can see how much push she has from the hind leg. Just needs to be matched in front. Lots of enthusiasm from this lovely mare. And we saw the mistakes creep in there in those one-time changes. But still a big smile on Jeanna Hogberg's face. She's got a rather special mare there. And I think they're going to come back even stronger tomorrow for the freestyle. So here's the score: 73.261 from E, 70.652 from H, 70.435 from C, 71.848 from M, and 69.457 from B. A total score of 71.131, and into fifth place there for Jeanna Hogberg and Astoria. That means that she's done it again. Carina Cassoe is our leader. There she is having her interview. She scored a personal best of 78.217 to take the win here in Gothenburg for this Grand Prix. And here is the final result. Nanna Merrald and Blue Horse Zach in seconds as a Denmark 1-2, 76.674. Isabell Werth and DSP Qantas for Germany make up the top three. 75.913 there. Helena Langehanenberg in fourth, with Annabelle 110, 72.478. Jeanna Hogberg there in fifth. Joanna Due Boje in sixth. Jacob Norby Sorensen. Trude Hestengen. Marc Peter Spahn, he was first into the arena with that lovely Frisian 66.174. A fantastic class that we have enjoyed today. And here are the standings as they are at the moment. Isabell out in the lead with 74 points. Ingrid Klimke in second, just behind 72. And Nanna there in third place with 69. So if we have another win from Carina Cassoe, she will climb up the leaderboard. She already has 20 points from Wilhelmsborg, but she's got quite a lot of climbing to do. You can see Daniel Bachman Anderson there in 14th place. The top 9 from the Western European League will go through to the finals, but of course only 3 from each country can go forward, and Jessica von Bredel-Vandel gets automatic qualification because she is our champion at the moment. She's done her minimum eligibility, which was to compete in 2 World Cup qualifiers. She did that in Lyon and in Basel, where she took 2 wins with over 90%. So Germany have got some really tough decisions of who they're going to take to the finals. Lots of German riders in the top rankings. We've got Isabell in the lead, and then Ingrid in second. So it really, really is all to play for these riders. Nanna Merrald, this is her 7th World Cup qualifier. She's sitting in 3rd place at the moment. But this lady has done it again, her 2nd World Cup win. Can she do it again tomorrow in the freestyle? It is, of course, Carina Kruth and the lovely mare that is Helena Langehanenberg for Denmark. They scored a new personal best today in the Grand Prix, 78.217. Some really, really super work from this combination. It's been so lovely to follow their journey. Did such a great job at the World Championships on home territory last year in Herning. Help Denmark pick up that team gold. And of course her teammate alongside her was Nanna Merrald and Blue Horse Zach. So another 1-2 for them today. But I know Isabell Werth and DSP Quantas are going to be coming back tomorrow in the freestyle, wanting to pick up even more points. She's been the bridesmaid a few times. She's going to want to be the bride tomorrow and take that win. But can she take it from this lady? As I said, Carina picked up 20 points in Wilhelmsborg. So we just wait now for the prize giving. Big thank you to Agria for sponsoring this wonderful class. So we will see the top 8 come forward. Top 8, of course, will do the lap of honour. So Carina Kruth at the moment in 27th place on the standings, with lots of riders in 22nd place, joint 22nd. So if she takes another 20 points tomorrow, that will put her up into 13th place on the standings, just behind Charlotte Fry, who is currently in 12th place with 41 points. So she will jump up to 13th. That will also mean that she is the 2nd highest Danish rider in the standings. But of course, we have got Sertogenbosch still to come, which will be in March. That is the final leg of this Western European League. You can watch all of the action on the 10th and 11th of March for that final competition of the Western European League. We show all of the Grand Prix for free on Facebook and on YouTube. But you can sign up and subscribe to Clip My Horse or FEI TV to watch the action of the freestyle competition. The action from the finals in Omaha in April. So just a few moments more until we welcome the riders forward for the prize giving. A fantastic arena here in Gothenburg. As I said earlier, one of the biggest arenas on the World Cup circuit, certainly for the Western European League. We've gone from one extreme to the other, actually. I think Neumünster last weekend was one of the smallest. Very, very intense atmosphere in Neumünster. The crowd are really close to the riders. And like here, actually, there's no room for the riders to trot around the outside of the arena. Here it's because of the arena shape. Of course, you can see it here. It's a lovely oval. Whereas the arena here, the spectators are a little bit further away. Of course, those stands go very, very high up and a much larger capacity of audience can be held here in Gothenburg, and that's why they've hosted the finals on so many occasions. Neumünster, a lot more intense. I think sometimes if you can reach out, you could probably touch them, much like Olympia used to be in London before it moved to XL. So just a few moments more before we bring you the prize giving. We saw fabulous 10 combinations come forward today. Top 6 all scored over 70%. Crowd clapping in anticipation. They want to see the winners coming forward. So we just get ready to bring the riders into the arena. And make sure you join us back as well tomorrow for the freestyle. So there you can see Suzanne Barup, our president of the ground jury.
And we will present the Grand Prix prize winners in reverse order. Places 8 through to 4, omitting combination 7 actually in our lineup, not present for the prize giving. We'll go in reverse order, and then the top 3 will come in afterwards. Ladies and gentlemen, we start the prize giving in reverse order.
So in 8th place we had Trude Hestengen from Norway. She was riding Christian Lund Faustino. Scored 66.5% for 8th place. Huge congratulations to that combination. And in 6th place it is Sweden's Joanna Due Boje and Maisie Covenho. They scored 70.587%. We of course did have Jacob Noby, Sorensen and Sheeran in 7th place. They chose not to come forward for this prize giving. And in 5th place we have Jeanna Hogberg and Astoria, the last combination to come into the arena. They are 5th with 71.131%. And then just behind there, you can see Helena Langehanenberg and Annabelle 110 for Germany. They were 4th with 72.478%. So huge congratulations to those riders, placed 8th to 4th. As we just wait before we welcome the top 3 into the arena to receive their prizes. A big thank you, as always, to our wonderful sponsors. This time it's Agria. Make sure you look them up for lifetime insurance for your horses. Everybody poised and ready for the final 3 to come forward.
The top 3, ladies and gentlemen, in the FEI
So, of course, our winner, it is Carina Kruth and Helena Langehanenberg. There we have Isabell Werth. She was in third with DSP Quantas, 75.913%. Nanna Merrald and Blue Horse Zach, 76.674 in second place. And our winner also for Denmark, Carina Kruth and Helena Langehanenberg. They took the win today in Gothenburg. There she is. That lovely, lovely young mare, Helena Langehanenberg, already gold medalist from the World Championships last year. Can they get their second podium of the Western European League World Cup qualifiers? So first up, though, we have the national anthem of Denmark. So huge congratulations to our fabulous winner, Carina Kruth and Helena Langehanenberg for Denmark. A personal best for that combination today of 78.217. As she's being congratulated with a first aid for horses gift box from our sponsors Agria. Hopefully she won't ever need that, but very, very handy to have. As they just have their pictures together. Helena Langehanenberg looking very, very relaxed in this prize giving. And now from our organising committee and our judge, Suzanne Barra. And in second place, Nanna Merrald and Blue Horse Zach. They scored 76.674. As Carina receives her flowers from the judge at sea, Suzanne Barra from Denmark.
Denmark has a superb afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Please congratulate a brilliant second place. It is Nanna Merrald for Denmark and it is Blue Horse Zach.
So in second, she's congratulated by our organising committee and our judge at sea. It is, of course, Nanna Merrald and Blue Horse Zach, 76.674%. And then in third place, it is Isabell Werth and DSP Quantas, 75.913 in third position. Flowers again presented by Suzanne Barra, our judge at sea.
Just a quick word with Carina.
So we're just going to hear a few words from Carina.
You join a very illustrious list of Grand Prix champions here. It's your very first visit. Congratulations, it must be a special moment.
Thank you so wanting to ride here forever, and yeah, it lives totally up to what I expected. And the Swedish audience is amazing every time. I feel like you really know about horses, and we feel it in the ring. And thank you so much for your support.
Carina, your test looked pretty much close to perfection. Was there anything you left out there, or was it as good as you could have wanted?
I am so happy about today. I was crying my eyes out when I got out of the ring because I was so emotional, because, you know, we train every day, so many thousands of hours, and then everything succeeds in just 6 minutes in here, and it's really, really special.
Carina, thank you very much, and congratulations on your Gothenburg victory.
Wonderful to hear from our riders and see how much it means to them. Like Carina says, there's hours and hours of work that goes into getting these horses to this level, and this horse just tried her heart out in the arena today. Of course, it wouldn't be possible without the team behind these riders as well, our owners, our grooms, everybody involved. It really, really does take a village, down to physios, osteopaths, you name it, everybody involved. But a huge congratulations to our riders. Carina Cassoe, Kruth, Helena Langehanenberg in the lead, a personal best 78.217. I'm sure there's going to be more tears and more celebrations later ahead of tomorrow's freestyle. But in second place it is Nanna Merrald and Blue Horse Sack, again for Denmark, 76.674. And in third it is Isabell Werth and DSP Quantas for Germany, 75.913. As they throw the flowers into the crowd. Like Carina said, a fantastic audience here. Lovely to see these two teammates, such good friends. Such a supportive bunch of riders. They all want the best for each other, and it's just such a great atmosphere. But that's it now for the Grand Prix. We of course do have the freestyle back tomorrow, so make sure you join us. But from me, Natasha Baker, that is it for today. Have a fantastic evening, and make sure you join us back tomorrow for the freestyle.
But there your champion, ladies and gentlemen. Carina Cassoe, Kruth wins the Grand Prix of Gothenburg, presented by Austria. Denmark wins with Highline's Dan Sierra, the champions. Thank you very much to our presenting party, to Austria, for their sponsorship of this wonderful Grand Prix. Agnes Fabricius, the CEO, to Mikael Thioren, the area manager for Austria, Horses and Agriculture. To Suzanne Farrer from our wonderful grand jury, our judges from Denmark, to Lotte Hebel of the organising committee here at Gothenburg School Show. Thank you to our presenting party. Congratulations to Carina Cassoe Group. Have a very good afternoon. Top class show jumping will be starting at 6 o'clock this evening. Hopefully we'll see you later.